Welcome to the Exo Training System. You will learn from industry professionals and top field leaders the most effective techniques and time-tested principles to build your business. Now, here is your Exo speaker to share their insights.
Oh yeah.
Well, hey, we just landed, about an hour ago from Wichita, Kansas, and we are. Is anybody from Wichita here? Okay. We are very, very excited to be here. This is something that we've been looking forward to ever since Cody stepped foot in my office. So you guys have been doing this for a couple hours now. Can I get everybody to stand back up again? This is something, we go to a lot of medical conferences, and this part really gets sore after you're sitting for a long time. And you know what they say, that sitting is the new smoking? Well, so we're gonna stand, and I want everybody to just reach straight up as high as you can. All right, good. Now put your hands on your hips. All right, bend over to the side. Anybody's back cracking? Yeah, going that way? Okay. And tip your head back up. Go down. All right, roll your head around. Wow, does that feel good? All right. Okay, you guys can have a seat. Tell you a little bit about my story. I've been in family medicine for about 15 years and been board certified. Started out my practice in a large group practice with 11 other docs. And medical school it's kind of a soul-crushing experience. And I knew why I wanted to get into medicine, but when I got out of medicine, I kind of had a lot of questions about why I did what I did. For 10 years, I really felt like what I was doing was matching patients with problems and then problems with pills. And it got really frustrating because I saw that people, they weren't really getting better, right? And I didn't feel like we were really doing what needed to be done. And it was really my wife that challenged me. She said, you should go learn something different. I can see you're not happy doing this. So I started a fellowship in functional medicine. I really felt like I kind of got bullied into it by both my wife and my mother-in-law. I don't know about your family, but if there's an argument, it doesn't matter how good I am at telling them what I need to do. So, in my family, if there's an argument, my wife always wins. I just give up. I'm like, okay, well, honey, what do you want me to do? So I traveled and I went to a conference, and at this conference they were talking about nutrition, they were talking about biochemical pathways, they were talking about hormones, and these were all things that I had sort of a distant memory of, because the first 2 years of medical school you spend learning about the body, and the body is amazing. I mean, to this day I still think I have the greatest job because I get to see one of the most amazing creations on earth and how it works, and it still boggles my mind all the things our bodies can do. They're amazing. So I was listening to these doctors talk about these biochemical pathways and how they were using them in their practice, and never were they mentioning anything about pharmaceutical solutions or drugs. And I kind of went back in my mind to my basic science days, and I realized something happened in medical school. Is that when I got out of the 2 years of clinical, doing the basic sciences, I stepped into the clinical world. And it's a terrifying experience as a third year, right? Because you're thrown into rooms with patients who are sick, and there's people dying, and it's a whirlwind of information. In fact, I kind of describe it like being really thirsty for knowledge, but you're taking a sip from a literal fire hydrant, right? I mean, there's just so much information to absorb. So what you end up doing is you just lockstep in front of right behind the person who's in front of you, and you begin doing exactly what they're doing. And you don't look to the left, you don't look to the right, because you don't want to be that guy that stands out on those third and fourth years. There's a physician that I really value his instruction, and he said there is this caterpillar that lives in the Amazon rainforest, okay? And this caterpillar is big, furry, and orange. My wife would step on it immediately. But this caterpillar has adapted something that helps it survive. So on its own, it would be a huge target for birds and other animals to eat it. But what this caterpillar does is it finds another caterpillar, the same species, and it gets right behind it. And then that caterpillar finds another, and they make their way across the forest floor, and they actually look like a big snake. And now suddenly, birds aren't that interested. The problem is that every once in a while, this caterpillar, as it's going around a rock, the front caterpillar ends up finding the back caterpillar, and what's he do? Just locks right in step. And so this caterpillar will spin around for days sometimes, looking for food, and they die. And I kind of felt like that's what was happening in medicine, right? I mean, all my colleagues, we were just doing the same thing over and over again, following the person in front of us, until finally I stepped outside of that circle, and I said, this doesn't make any sense. We're just going around and around in circles. People aren't getting better. So after medical school, after 10 years of doing it the wrong way, found the fellowship program, began learning about integrative medicine, a functional approach to people's health problems. I went on to get another fellowship in the Medical Academy of Pediatric Special Needs, which both Kristen and I are very passionate about. And so we're learning how to use these kind of products to help people fix their pathway problems, to give them functional answers to create better lives. So, thank you. So I want Kristen just to talk a little bit about her background, because I'm a MD, so medical doctor, and Kristen is an ND, which is a naturopathic doctor. We both went to 4 years of medical school, but she started out on the right path. So you're gonna.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys have such amazing energy. I love it. I love it. So I get the privilege of being Dr. Davis's sidekick. How amazing is Dr. Davis? And so I actually started on somewhat of a similar path. I come from conventional medicine too. And after college, I knew I wanted to work with people, and mostly in primary care, and help them figure out how to live their best, healthiest lives. And I credit the doctors I learned from so much because they taught me a lot. But as Dr. Davis was mentioning, there's things and protocols that we see, and it's easy to get stuck in that pattern of, medicine, and here's a pill for your problem. And I remember the moment that I decided that I needed something different. I was working for a particular doctor that day who I have the utmost respect for, and I took a phone call from a patient who called in and was feeling a little down. And so we started talking, because that's what we do. We always try to get to the bottom of what's going on. And she really felt like her sadness was triggered by a very sad book she was reading. I thought, okay, that's an expected human emotion. But she thought maybe it was a little too much. And so we talked to the doctor about it. And, the first solution was a medication. Not to step back and just talk through and be okay with accepting a typical human emotion to something like that. So that was my first experience, and I thought, okay, I think there's definitely something different out there for me. And so how many people here have heard of naturopathic medicine? Woo! Yeah, I love it. I love it. Great. Yeah, back in my hometown, I get a few interesting looks, but thankfully I think I look like a nice enough person so people don't run away when they hear that. So like Dr. Davis said, I had 4 years of medical school, and just like conventional training, we spend the first few years learning about biochemistry, anatomy, and physiology. And in naturopathic medical training, we still learn about all the conventional treatments that are available to us because I certainly believe there's a time and place for those treatments, and I'm very thankful for a lot of them. Because I always tell Dr. Davis, if I get hit by a bus, naturopathic medicine may help me on the healing end of things, but conventional medicine definitely is the first place to go with that. So with naturopathic medicine, our goal is to always treat the whole person. We never separate or, just treat a certain part. We know that the body works together as a whole. So what's going on with your gut health is going to affect your brain health. It's going to affect your skin. It's going to affect your joint health. We're one thing. We're not our separate parts. And we know that we need to nourish our bodies. So we need good nutrition, which I know Dr. Davis is really excited to talk to you guys about a few things. But with naturopathic medicine, we look at the things that what we call determine somebody's health. So we look at the determinants of health. And we see where we can try to bring balance back to somebody's health so they have a good, healthy outcome. And so I like to tell my patients when I'm explaining this approach that we take in our clinic that building your health is sometimes like building a house, and you have to start with a strong foundation. So with that being said, that's what really led me to naturopathic medicine. We're very passionate about what we do. What Dr. Davis's approach now, it obviously jives very well together, and we both share a great passion for helping to teach people how to be healthy.
So I asked Dr. Marvin to come with me because the team environment that we've built at our clinic. Well, let me back up and tell you about our clinic, first of all. I think it's an amazing place. So I had the opportunity to step away from that large group practice, buy a smaller practice, and try something different. And so one of the things we do in our clinic is we tell people we contract directly with our patients. We don't take insurance. And there's a reason we don't take insurance. Health insurance and health care are two very different things with completely different motivations. So in my old practice, I would have to see 35 to 40 people a day. So that meant 7-minute appointments, maybe. That does not give you time to get to the root cause of that problem. And so in our clinic, since we don't take insurance, our appointments are 15 minutes is the shortest appointment, and most appointments are 45 minutes to an hour. So it's fantastic. So by cutting out insurance as a third party, we were able to lower our cost to patients. Because I was hearing a lot of people say, I've got high deductible insurance. To go through your old practice, I had to pay a lot of money. The insurance wasn't covering, or they said something wasn't medically necessary. Vitamin D, for instance, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow, but vitamin D is probably one of the most important vitamins that we have. In fact, it acts a lot more like a hormone in our body. And I would see so many problems coming from a vitamin D deficiency. So I started routinely checking it in every patient. And Blue Cross Blue Shield, bless their hearts, they're right across the street from us right now. They started denying the bills that we were sending to them. And they said, well, we don't feel it's medically necessary because they haven't had a fracture yet. That was very frustrating for me because my goal with my patients is to prevent the fracture, right? I mean, I don't want to wait till someone breaks a hip. So that's really one of the most powerful things about direct care is that we've been able to just take that piece out of the puzzle, and we're able to lower our costs and spend really the majority of our time just talking about people's health problems. So I have a team. There's 4 providers. Dr. Marvin, our naturopathic doctor, Jolene Zivnuska, who's a nurse practitioner in women's health, and we'll be talking a little bit about a product that she absolutely loves, probably late tomorrow. That one's kind of a little preview. You guys will be excited about that. And then I have another nurse practitioner, Sophia Lyon. She's a nurse practitioner in family medicine. So we take this team approach. We get to practice in a beautiful practice. We have an amazing team. And at the end of the day, we all sit in the same office. I'm the only one who doesn't have a desk. I just have a chair that I sit in. And we talk about our patients. And we have difficult patients. We have difficult problems. We bounce ideas off of each other. So it's an amazing process that we go through. What I'm most excited about is that, this partnership with Bonvera is really going to bring our expertise and our knowledge to a whole lot more people. And it's going to be happening through you guys. So, how many of you have used the Calm and Clear, have tried it? What do you guys? So this isn't even our best product. So this is an example of, if you take time, and we've really spent a long time going out and finding the right products. We formulated them. And we use these on a daily basis in our practice. And it almost feels like cheating sometimes, because people come in and they're anxious, they can't sleep at night, and we give them this, and suddenly they're raving about it. Their minds are working better, they're more relaxed, they can sleep better, and that's one of the determinants of health. If you can get people sleeping better, there's a whole bunch of things that then get better. They're making better neurotransmitters, they're digesting better, they're recovering from exercise better. So these are not difficult concepts. And so what we're excited about this partnership, and this really is just scratching the surface. I mean, these products that we've started with are foundational products, and they're really important, but there are so many other things that we have planned through this partnership to bring to you guys. So we're very, very, very excited about it. So tomorrow, Dr. Marvin and I are going to be at the booth. Is that a booth? Is that right? Or a table? We'll be at the back. And I love just having people come up and talking about what we do, ask questions. If you ask me to look at a rash, I may have to pull you around the corner. Okay. That does happen. Am I right? But we're going to be, we want to talk to you guys. We want to hear your experience. We want to find out what you're struggling with, what your friends are struggling with. What are the products that you feel like you need? What are the things that you have a hard time finding? That's where we really feel like we can be the biggest help for you, is to be that resource. We know a lot about these things and how to use them in people, and we want to bring that knowledge to you guys. So tomorrow we'll be talking about each one of the products in depth. They have these educational packages, which are amazing. I mean, I really encourage people to read through this. There's a lot of science in there. If you have questions, you can come ask us about it tomorrow, and we can tell you in more detail. But we'll be touching on all of these tomorrow, and then talking a little bit about a preview of some exciting stuff that we have around the corner that we're planning for.
It's just exciting information when you can hear from somebody who's passionate about what they do. I want to really start talking about the launch of PhyzixMD, how exciting that was, and just the massive response. And today you've been out in the crowd a little bit. In fact, you didn't even get back in the room after you got back from dinner because you guys are so excited, asking questions. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing in the beginning of the launch of our first 3 products, and where you see the impact of that making a difference already.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. We were walking back, and we were coming in just to listen to the speakers, and we got stuck, and I thought we were out there for about an hour and a half, and Kristen said we were there for 2.5 hours answering questions. So I'm glad I think I got to meet just about everybody out there. No, I mean, I think a lot of the things we were being asked is, a common question was, well, how do I know if I'm taking enough? How do I know if I need this? What are the doses that you use for this problem and that problem? And I think those are all fantastic questions. And so one of the things that we're working on to bring to Bonvera as part of this partnership is an ability for you to directly order lab tests that will actually allow you to test these values. So,
you mentioned when we did the Facebook Live, it was a really neat event because one of the things you talked about was on a bottle there's a suggested dosage.
Yeah.
And that was for people that are probably very healthy and eating correctly, which pretty much nobody does. And so there is a level above that suggested level that probably is important to get people up to the right nutrition they need.
Yeah, so the omega is a great example, and I have a genetic derangement in my cholesterol panel called LP(a). It stands for lipopolysaccharide A, and it increases my risk for cardiovascular disease. Now, I don't really have much in my family, but one thing that can lower that is higher doses of omega-3s. So I take close to 10 fish oil a day. And so when I tell you it doesn't cause you to burp, believe me, it doesn't cause you to burp fish oil. So
we're getting a lot of actual good feedback on the Omega, the Omega Max, that people are taking Omega for the first time and not having a reaction, not having this burping sensation, and they've never really experienced anything that is this kind of a quality Omega.
Yeah, so even have a lot of people say, well, how do I get my kids to take it? I said, just put the fish oil capsule in your mouth and have them bite on it. Suck the oil out and spit the capsule out. So in my kids, some of them can swallow capsules and some can't. So lots of great things that you can do with that product.
One of the products that we've released now that's had massive success is Calm and Clear.
Yeah.
I have not heard such rave reviews about a single product as we have for that in a relatively short amount of time. It's only been a few weeks since we were in Wichita and doing the Facebook Live. And then to hear just the people that have said, I'm going to try it, they try it and they get instantaneously, they're sleeping better. They're feeling more relaxed. Talk a little bit about the Calm and Clear and kind of things you're hearing.
Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me because, again, magnesium is involved in so many processes in our body, and the the magnesium deficiency is rampant, right? I mean, it's not in our food as much as it used to be. We're not eating good food anymore. I love using that one, especially in our clinic, because when I have people coming in and they're dealing with some of these issues, and they don't really know what our approach is going to be. They kind of heard we don't like to use pharmaceuticals. And they started trying us out. And so we'll say, well, let's start with something simple. I want you to take some magnesium. And they come back and they're like, okay, what do I do next? Because that was amazing. Right? I'm sleeping better. We talk about poop a lot, so I'm pooping better. It's funny, I always made fun of older people. I'm like, they always are talking about their bowel movements. It turns out that's really important, right? Bowel movements are important.
We were trying to have dinner tonight, and this conversation started then. I knew we were going to have trouble.
And we were smiling.
Yeah.
This side of the table was smiling. That side of the table was not happy with poop talk.
Yeah.
I was still eating. So we could talk about stuff all night long. You guys are so passionate about what you do. And it's fun to be around that. We were having some discussions the intensity was so strong because of the belief that you can help people. We've got the right products to do it. We started with 3. It's just the beginning. And instead of just you and I talking, we're going to actually pass the baton here and let the ladies talk about something that the ladies are going to be very excited about. Do tell.
Yes. So I know for myself, I cannot wait for her to come out. And and I'm sure Mark is too. But Dr. Marvin, if you could just explain, if you could just help the ladies in the crowd understand what that's going to do for them on a monthly basis when we deal with our cycles, when we're dealing with hot flashes, mood swings, anything like that. Like, what have you experienced? What are we going to have that to look forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the greatest things about this particular product is that it can really be helpful for women no matter where they're at in their cycle. Young women who are just getting started, and that's a very common time to have hormonal imbalances. And then obviously as we age, pregnancy, stress, breastfeeding, all of these things can contribute to an imbalance in our hormones. And then we get into perimenopause and menopause. And I always tell my patients when I bring up perimenopause, that can start in our early 30s. So this isn't, it's not all about age in a sense. So we use this product in our clinic for all ages of women that need hormonal support. And the really great thing about this product is that it's not replacing function. It's supporting normal function of your body. So it contains a very specific formulation of vitamins and minerals and some botanical extracts that help your body do what it's meant to do. So it's fantastic.
So you mentioned pregnancy and breastfeeding. So is this
Yes.
safe to take no matter what's going on with your body? Because that's a lot of questions women that are breastfeeding and pregnant have.
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So one of the unfortunate things is that we don't have many studies to show safety, and that actually is true for many medications as well. So we always err on the side of caution in those situations. And so it's not something that we recommend taking if you are currently pregnant or breastfeeding. But those certainly are times in our lives where our hormones can become imbalanced. And so there's other much safer alternatives for helping hormones during that time frame. But speaking along the lines of pregnancy, it is something that we use in our clinic that has actually helped many women achieve pregnancy. So it's something that we use among addressing lifestyle and other things that are very important for that. And once a woman becomes pregnant, we take them off of it.
Yeah, so I want to tell a little story, and this story happens a lot, and I think it's important for everybody to know about this product. We had a patient who came in, and she was having a lot of problems with her hormones. She had been diagnosed with PCOS. And so one of the things we started was this product. And nurse practitioner Jolene Zivnuska, who I've talked about before, she warned the patient. She said, you guys need to be using some backup form of protection. And this woman is 43, 44, And she just laughed and she said, we've been trying for 20 years, we're not going to get pregnant. She got pregnant. So, if you're going to use this product, and you're in that age where you can still have kids and you don't want to have kids, be careful.
We always say if you're not trying to prevent, you're trying.
I have a question about the Just For You. What about if you're postmenopausal?
Yeah, absolutely. It is something that we use in postmenopausal women because you still have hormones despite being in menopause. And oftentimes there's things in the environment that you may be exposed to that can still affect those hormones. And so the simple answer is yes, we still use it in postmenopausal women.
Well, in fact, it's really beneficial for them because of the not only the hormone support, but in menopause, most women are making estrone. And estrone is a difficult to metabolize estrogen. It's produced in the adipose tissue, and that form of estrogen is a risk factor for breast cancer. The black cohosh, the Chase Vitex that's in there, is fantastic for hot flashes. So we've had many women who in the past we would have had to start hormone therapy. And hormone therapy can be expensive, it can be tricky. You have to know about a person's genetics to see whether that's safe. And so that's one thing we really like about this product is that we can safely give it to those women because we know it's going to be helping them with those liver pathways to detoxify their own hormones. That's a great question.
Hi. I've been told I have anemia, and part of it could be cycles and stuff. Is there anything in the product line as far as what I should be doing or anything that's coming besides just iron supplements that they keep telling me to take?
Yeah, iron deficiency is an extremely common problem, and there's a lot of people that have iron deficiency without anemia, so non-anemic iron deficiency. And one of the problems with iron is that it's a metal, so it's kind of like magnesium. It's difficult to absorb. A lot of people who take it get constipated. So taking an iron with vitamin C will increase the absorption. So it's one of the products we've talked about bringing. Again, this is the tip of the iceberg. There's so many things, and so we love getting this kind of feedback because I do think it's a common problem, but it's one that's important to test because you can have too much iron, and we don't want that to happen. So it may be a little while before we have that product out.
I've tried fish oil before for blood sugar control with no effect. Tell me more about how yours works.
So blood sugar control, there's a lot of things that can happen with blood sugar control, and I would never want someone to expect just a pill to take care of blood sugar. If you have insulin resistance, there's a lot of things that you need to address. Number one, if you have insulin resistance, you're in essence not processing sugar, so you should take that out of your diet. Omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D can help with insulin resistance. The chromium and the vanadium that's in the multivitamin, those are therapeutic amounts of chromium and vanadium, so that will also help with sugar. But honestly, most of us just eat far too much of it. It's pervasive in our culture. 100 years ago, the average American in a year had 5 pounds of added sugar. And that's not even sugar from fruit or sugar from foods that's naturally found. That's added sugar. In 2012, the average American had 150 pounds of added sugar in their diet. That's a big problem. When we look at the problem of diabetes, in my children's generation, 2/3 of them are going to have diabetes or be pre-diabetic. I think it's a growing problem, and that's one of the things, the other programs that we've talked about, and I kind of talked to a few of you out there, is this concept of a lifestyle program. We really don't just fix these problems with pills, right? We want to go to the root cause. We want to find out what's causing the dysfunction. So in our clinic, we have a 12-week lifestyle program. It's very comprehensive, and it's probably the thing that we have the most fun doing. So we're actually going to work and hopefully get this done before the next big event so that lifestyle program will be available to everybody. When you talk about creating a residual, right? We're talking about residual and having things come back. When you can go and you can affect someone's life and help them be healthier and live a better life, and they're more productive, they have a better self-esteem, they're coming off of their prescription medications, that residual payout is incalculable. Building wealth is great, but if your health isn't there, that's your most important physical asset. All the money in the world doesn't matter if you don't have good health. So we want to build that first.
Hi, I got a question. I had a partial hysterectomy by the time I was 23 years old, and I had my left ovary removed. I've had 8 surgeries essentially, and I was curious about the medication. And I don't have like hormone shots or anything like that to regulate. I was wondering like what it could do to help me. It was due to endometriosis and other things.
So certainly, like what Dr. Davis was just saying, a big part of what we do in our clinic is look at all of those foundational things that determine your health as an individual. So we start with those foundational pieces, and then we might move on to, identifying, you would certainly fall into a category of someone that would possibly be anemic or have iron deficiency with that type of a history. So we'd be wanting to identify and support those processes. And then also, something like the Just for Her, because having a partial hysterectomy oftentimes means that you'll still have your ovaries remaining, and those are structures that are still producing some hormones, but certainly going to be different because of the surgery. So that's why something like that product would still be very helpful and beneficial. And I have to admit, I really wish Jolene Zivnuska was here. In our clinic, she is the women's health hormone expert, and I know definitely she would be all over that Just for Her.
She would still
product.
be stuck in the hallway answering questions right now.
Yeah. But even again, we can't only rely on product alone. So there really are many lifestyle, dietary, stress management, physical activity, optimizing sleep. All of those things can affect hormones for both women and men.
Well, we started a line. It was growing rapidly, and we'd love to stay here all night, and you guys have great questions. We just wanted to give you a taste of how knowledgeable these two are and how much they're going to be able to help our community as we continue to expand this product line. And we talked a little bit about one of the next areas, and you just briefly mentioned it, helping people in their lifestyle. And so many people want to have like the magic pill, take one pill and lose, a bunch of weight or whatever it may be. But the reality is it's more comprehensive than that. And it's never going to be as simple as taking a pill. Can you just talk briefly about some of the stuff we talked about today and kind of the vision on where we see the PhyzixMD line going?
Yeah, so I think the next things that we're going to be rolling out are really those products that support that healthy lifestyle and that really match well with that lifestyle program. And so in our clinic, we start with a 2-week metabolic cleanse. And this metabolic cleanse, really, the way I kind of describe it to people, it gets everybody to have a nice, easy takeoff, a good runway. We get everybody kind of on the playing field. We do an elimination diet. We have some meal replacement that's built into that. But beyond that, it's a lot of education. And we have lots of content that we roll out. We put everybody into a Facebook training group as part of that. And if you do the lifestyle program, you're in that Facebook training group for as long as there's Facebook. And that's amazing because people keep coming back in and saying, hey, I've been doing this now and these are my successes. And we want those stories to encourage other people to do that same thing. So I think that's the thing I'm most excited about. And then, a lot of people will say, well, I can't get my doctor to do anything but the standard cholesterol test, or my insurance won't let me check vitamin D. If you cut insurance out of the process, these labs are affordable. And the way we have this thing structured, you'll be able to go online and buy a very comprehensive panel, and then we'll have the educational tools available on the website, so you can go and you can learn about those things, and then you'll be able to go back to your doctor and maybe even educate them. So that's exciting.
So it really is about creating a comprehensive line of products that is unique, distinctive, and the things that we're talking about is we're not just going to have something just to have a product with a particular type of purpose. We're going to have the best product available in the marketplace. We're going to search for it. If it doesn't exist, you'll create it, help us design it, whatever it may be. These two are experts in these areas. And they have the vision that they have for helping the Bonvera community because they want to make a difference. They want to make a difference in people's lives. What we all know is this, is that you can make all the money in the world. If your health is suffering, it doesn't matter. And so let's do both. Let's improve the health of the people in the world, help them have a business where they can be profitable, help them get not only an income coming in, but a healthy lifestyle and the time to enjoy it for many, many years to come. This is a partnership that we're just getting started. We're going to do some great things. We're going to affect a lot of lives. We're going to go out there and truly make a difference in so many people's health so they can be fully functioning in the way that their body was designed to function. We thank you so much for your expertise. We thank you for your time serving the community, and we look forward to having you back over and over again to help us learn how to live that lifestyle.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We hope you've enjoyed this content. Take the next step and attend a live EXO event. While these techniques and approaches have worked for others, no one can guarantee they will work for you. We hope, however, they will assist you in building a strong and profitable business. This is a copyrighted program. The purchase of these materials is optional and subject to the refund policy on the exotrainingsystem.com website.